Welcome back, it's Laura at Hyperstamper. I've just finished this beautiful little journal with a plate on it from the 1890s. And this illustrator is Victor Venner, a very popular illustrator. It's this little girl with her puppy, and he's watching her eat and she's trying to teach him a trick. I actually have the little plate caption that I'm going to add to the inside of the journal. I've got these vintage beads that I ran down the side in wood, brown, blacks, and beiges to match the cover. The cover of this book was just very plain. It is a school and community songbook, so I did keep the original pages, but I just love the color, and this plate just went perfect with it. Perfect size, everything. So let's take a look inside. Here's the original inscription. And here is the original book is from 1929. So the book is 1929 and the plate is from the 1890s. So lots of great history in there. This is the original first song in the book. And then I've got an early 1900s pocket page here. And this is a 1930s children's book page with some antique paper on the back for journaling. There's a lot stuffed into this journal, and it's all original, authentic, antique, and vintage ephemera. No commercial papers ever in my journals. So here's a wonderful receipt from the 1950s from Nyson Bakery. Made this little pocket here. There's a hot air balloon there from a children's book from the 50s. And this wonderful piece here is from a 1937 Girls' Own Annual. And these are costumes. Look at this one is a pen and ink, which I love. This girl is dressed up like a willow tree, and this one is Lemon Pop. Isn't that wonderful? I love it. So that's a really fun piece there. And we'll just stick that back in there. 1950s How to Clean Your Fridge page. This is a 1968 Funny Bones game card. It's just colorful and fun. I love it. And this is from a vintage book here, probably from the 40s, the property of Verona Public Schools. I just love that stamp on there. And then this plate here is from the early 1900s. And look at this. A garden is a lovesome thing, God wot. Look at that beautiful pond and garden. It's just a wonderful photograph. And we've got some snapdragons, which I love snapdragons on the other side. I got this from the 1950s newspaper, and it's now automatic. It was an English publication. And then I made a little window pane pocket here. Here's another happy lady doing her upholstery cleaning, and just a vintage sewing page here. And that's actually German, which is very cool. They just had the best fashions in the 40s and 50s. And here is a lovely full color vintage shell book page. I put some antique paper in there as well for journaling, with a little beaver up here and a 1920s children's book page pocket down here. Isn't that great? This is from the turn of the century here, this very old music sheet. I love how worn it is naturally. And this is from the early 1900s as well. Here's a poem, The Little Tin Soldier. Wonderful. I just didn't want to touch it because it's really quite sweet. This is a fun vintage recipe book page. It's how to set a table. I swear to God, I get it wrong every time. Every time I have to ask, which side does the fork go on? That's so sad. So this is from the 1890s as well. Sunday Reading for the Young. Kind of a fun illustration there and poem. And more table setting tips here, and a really fun cluster with the interior spine of an antique book. And this is a wonderful colored postcard from Nova Scotia, and that's the Queen Hotel, which I don't believe exists anymore, but that is from the early 1900s. And then this is from 1940 Paris, France Almanac. And look at the mushroom cartoons up there, and mushrooms are just so in right now. I just thought that was really cool. Fishing cartoons up here, and that would have been during World War II. So sometimes if you have the time and the energy, you can put that into Google Translate and see what their satire is. Just more wonderful children's book pages here. A vintage botanical book, vintage children's school book page. And, oh, I love these. This is from 1926, I believe. What's wrong with this picture? We have those now, but it's just, look at the old typewriter. I just love it. No loafing. And another one on the other side. So really fun. Really, really fun pieces in here. I made a little double pocket here. This is from a 1950s school book here. And then over here is just an earlier page from an earlier book, mounted on top of an 1850s antique page. And we've got the cat and the squirrel there, so that's really fun. And a really beautiful vintage embroidery book here. And so I put some crochet down here. Wonderful cardboard children's book page from the 30s. And this here is from the Delineator, 1926. Keep your radiant smile. Look at that toothpaste ad. Isn't that fantastic? I just love it so much. And there's a soap ad. Look at this gorgeous image. Just lovely. Oh, so much fun to have these old pieces. And let's see over here. Oh yeah, this is from a vintage bird book. I think I've shown you this quite a few times. It's got the little tab on it. So this one is large shorebirds. Is that great? And that goes right in there. And I didn't put hidden journaling spots here just because the pages were so beautiful. This is a gorgeous plate from an antique book from the early 1900s. And then this here is, this is from University of Knowledge, have things to make and do. Sorry. So this is one of the to-do pages. And look at, some child has filled in some of the crosswords here. I just love that. I love it. More botanical pages, just a antique book page that I turned into a journaling envelope. This is from the 1920s. This page here from a school book, fun cluster with 1930s Monopoly money that got torn. I made this from 1940s Women's Needlepoint magazine. And a beautiful vintage card here, really unusual, that one. And a 1920s banknote. This is from 1975, so it's almost 50 years old there, from the Emerald Lodge. And look at this great vintage page here on kitchen decoration. Pink is fantastic. It's fantastic. I've never seen a pink kitchen, but man, I think I would love to have one. And here is from my antique photo album here. This is from the 30s. Uncle Will, Cousin Louis, and Cousin Ida. So there's a Bear Lake. And this great picture here. So you can have lots of fun with that. And then this last plate here with fresh pastures, these sheep grazing in the pastures. Just gorgeous. And there is a vintage bird book page here as well. So I'm going to put that up on Etsy now, hyperstamper.etsy.com, and you can go there and see the rest of my journals, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon.